Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Ghanaians attack Paul Adom-Otchere over childish Mahama comments. Paul Adom-Otchere is a nice gentleman. I love him. He's a broadcaster. In fact, he used to be with Joy FM. He had a stint with some other media houses and then landed at Metro TV, where he has an evening show, quite respected, and the show is called Good Evening Ghana. He's always wanted to be a lawyer. He grew up in the barracks, and he keeps telling us this story. He loves to tell the story of Ghana time after time. And if you catch him on a very good day, you really enjoy him, devoid of all the propaganda. This is Paul Adom-Otchere. He's a nice guy. Oh yes, Paul Adom-Otchere. Now, in the days of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he was actually made the CEO. In fact, the board chairman, the heartbeat of the Ghana airports. And Ghanaians remember him for the Christmas tree. Some people even make that his middle name, Paul Christmas Tree Adom-Otchere. Ghanaians like to tease him because he teases other people. This is a man who can be a fine gentleman if he wants to be. And if he doesn't want to, he can be full of propaganda. He told us that he will never criticize Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo because he has unfettered access to the former president. He would always go to him. My brother, my sister, but he has no problem criticizing other people who were part of his wedding. They donated their cars and even paid his law school fees. And I'm talking about Pogbe Afede, the 14th. My brother, my sister, this is Paul Adom-Otchere. Now, Paul is full of propaganda. I don't know if he gets paid for propaganda. But let me be fair. Since I say I don't get paid and I don't do propaganda, I should not assume that some other people get paid to do propaganda. Even if it exists, let me turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to that. This is a fine gentleman. He was picked up by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and it became quite controversial. This is Paul Adom-Otchere. Now, Paul Adom-Otchere is a member of the NPP. For some time now, he has become a communications person in the NPP and for the NPP. And I thought that that was good, because leaving the communications to people like Abronye and that other guy in Ashanti region, my brother, my sister, the party is doomed forever. Paul Yando, that's his name. My brother, we need communication, not buffoonery. But it looks like in our country, political communication for the parties has been reduced to nothing but buffoonery. How much you can insult, how much foolhardiness you can show, how much Dutch courage you can show, and not intellect. So politicians and political parties end up paying for people to be loud and not to be witty. My brother, my sister, this is Paul Adom-Otchere, fine gentleman. Now, Paul Adom-Otchere, about a week ago, criticized John Dramani Mahama. But he used Manasseh as the conduit pipe. He said, you see the floods in Ghana, it's all because of two people. Manasseh Awini Azure, who vilified Zoom Lion to the point that he made Zoom Lion unworthy to ride on the Ghanaian contract. And then that little boy there called Malik Basintali, who presently is in America watching the World Cup when he should be in Ghana creating employment for the youth. These are his own words, not mine. These two people made Mahama cancel the contract for Zoom Lion. My brother, my sister, as if the president had no common sense. What is the Council of Elders sitting down there doing? Are they not supposed to be advising the president? And if the president would only listen to two little boys in the west of Adom-Otchere, it looked like it was quite demeaning to put that president in that domain. But when Ghanaians spoke and it went quiet, he said, Mr. President, you cancel the contract now. See, the flood that we have in the country. No, Mr. President, you shouldn't have done that. And at the end of the day, he said, because you listened to these two little boys. Well, that story came and went away. But it looks like Paul has not really achieved what he wanted to. So he has hit again. This time round, he's on the neck of the president again, using his advisors as the conduit pipe. My brother, my sister, better English Trojan horse. He wants to hit the president, but he's using his advisors as the Trojan horses. And you know what he has done? This time around, he says, Mr. President, the so-called National Day of Prayer that you just had, your advisors did not advise you properly. It shouldn't have happened. This is the second edition of the prayer. People have died from the flood, and you still have the effrontery to advise the president to have this. That's what he said. This is it. National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving, and the theme is resetting our values to build the Ghana we want. My brother, my sister, this is the second edition. He's had the first edition, second edition, and the prayer went beautifully. Most of the time, it's Muslim and Christian. Oh my God, have mercy. It is what it is. And Paul Adom-Otchere didn't seem happy about what happened. And he spoke. Come along. Watch this.
You know, during the campaign in 2024, I used to come here and say something that people didn't listen or they didn't hear or they thought I was not serious. I used to say and complain that because of my love for President Mahama, I was worried that he's not getting the right advice. As a former president and a leading presidential candidate, I was worried that President Mahama is not getting the right advice. And when I said it, it was thought of as anti-propaganda, and Sami Jemfi and Co would laugh at me and all of that. Today we are seeing it. Viewers, look at what happened. People have died. 37 is the number. Even if we go by the Interior Minister's number of 12, 12 people have died from rainstorm, ostensibly caused by all kinds of things, including our own effort, other people's effort, the government's negligence. Even if you say it's negligence of MPP, you can say that it's still something. And people have died. Then the government of Ghana, the day after people died, because they had already scheduled a Thanksgiving service on the 1st of July, it did not occur to anyone to tell them that we really have to redirect this Thanksgiving service because it's insensitive to the families of Ghanaians who have lost their loved ones. Nobody in the Jubilee House could look at the thing and call him as the chief of staff. Let's have a quick meeting about tomorrow's event. Charlie, we shouldn't do it, or we should change it. We should change the attire to black. We should make it a commemorative requiem mass for the people who died. We should have people to come and talk about people who have died and encourage them. And we should tell Ghanaians that our Thanksgiving service has been changed. Even though the Bible says in all things we give thanks, so we can still have a Thanksgiving service, but the appearance of the Thanksgiving service should not be like a normal Thanksgiving service. So nobody in the Jubilee House was able to think this and say it and let it happen that way. Look at them.
Maybe Paul Adom-Otchere should have been the advisor of the President of the Republic. Thank God he's not. So you see the level of reasoning. 1st of July, we used to have the Republic Day and all that. So many holidays that we have in Ghana. We have chosen 1st of July for prayer and for us to be able to put a bit of spirituality into the nation. We have Muslims and Christians coming together to pray. And my brother, my sister, Paul Adom-Otchere says, because 12 people died, we should have all worn black on the day. And we should have had people to come and recite sorrowful poems and sing dirges. And that will show that we love the people more. And that we agree that there is a problem in the country. My brother, my sister, I don't know if he had the opportunity to be there and if he heard what happened there. How much prayer was dedicated to the souls of those who passed on. There was no single preacher who did not make reference to the flood. But Paul's problem is that people should have worn black. People should have gone there with handkerchiefs to wipe their tears. I hate it when I have to say this. Yet, the man that he reveres so much, that little dwarf who messed up our country for 8 solid years, shot and killed people in elections. They never ever investigated that. They gave people stupid haircuts. People old enough to be our grandfathers went into retirement, and it was like they had just gone into Armageddon. It was like they had just gone through a journey into the city of Hades. I hope you understand what that means. My brother, my sister, Kerberos was waiting to devour them. Some of you who understand Greek mythology, you would understand what I'm talking about. Mr. President messed us up. At Fana, we had little children who drowned because of the stupidity of the government that was in power. And I'm angry. You know why I am? These are children who are supposed to be the next generation. They cross a river twice a day to go to school. Nobody with common sense thought that they should give life jackets to these people. The nation could not even get a boat to carry these people, our future leaders, in and out. And on the day, a number of them drowned at Fana here in Accra. What did the government do? 2 of them survived. My brother, my sister, they have been traumatized from that time till now. Did they bring a counselor to talk to them? A psychiatrist? It took us time to talk and tell this government, no. If these were children of some dirty MP sitting somewhere, a dirty TV minister sitting somewhere, they would have reacted. What did Paul say? He didn't see it. After all, Fana, people will not serve his political ego. Let's be honest, brethren. What is good for the gander, what affects the gander, is good also for the goose, right? And it affects the goose as well. My brother, my sister, up till now, it's now that this government is trying to investigate whatever happened. Wanton stealing in the government. What happened to us? Our nation retrogressed several thousands of miles because of the dwarf and his lying boy. Today, Paul plays with something that is a catastrophe. To be able to get Zoom Lion back into the contract. That is what I see. And it hurts. Listen to what he said. Go to the comment section and see how Ghanaians are attacking him on his own platform. Ghanaians are not manipulative that much anymore, brethren. It's a flood. It's a natural catastrophe. Yes, we have been silly. Our attitudes have been stupid. Yes, government could have also come in to do more, but this is where we find ourselves. And for you, doing politics is this. Until we wear black. I'm sure people like Paul will not care if we all wear black and go and sit down there and still laugh our hearts out. The black is enough mourning. You see the mentality? The president, after the flood, was in an helicopter, which Kwesi Pratt did not agree with, around the whole of Accra and beyond to see the intensity of the flood. He addressed us In fact, even before the flood, the president had been talking about it. We saw how houses were broken, houses built on waterways. We saw the action. It was the same stupid Ghanaians who were sympathizing with the people who were ready to hammer in the nail into our coffins by building on waterways. When we broke them, you know what happened? Pastors, malams, sympathized with these people, blamed and chastised the government, and even paid money to relocate these people in hotels. Instead of telling them, you have been silly by building in waterways. Today, there's a flood. A few weeks after, some of these houses were being broken down. And Paul says we should all wear black, because black for him means sorrow. It means doom. An educated wannabe lawyer. Black for him represents sorrow. I have grown beyond seeing black as sorrow. The Bible says something. Paul is a Bible-believing guy. It says, clean up your garments, but it is better to clean up your heart. Mourning is not in the clothes you wear. It is inside you. It's not about what you say, it's how you say it. Hey, Paul didn't end there. He's bent on doing his propaganda. Right now, he's on the case of Adom-Otchere. How many of us know Adom-Otchere? The alleged superhero thief that has been worshipped by the crazy NPP idiots. And today, I'm out for them. This guy is a dangerous thief, according to investigators that we paid with our tax money to serve us. He got the opportunity, as young as he is, rescued from the jaws of the cold and the snow in England, to come and serve his nation. He tricked that little dwarf into making him the boss of the National Signals Bureau, because we were told that he was one of those who allegedly stole votes and ballots for that useless party. My brother, my sister, he was the capo. He was the big boss. Nobody could touch him. Hey, this guy allegedly kidnapped people at will. He flaunted his whims and caprices any day, anytime. This guy. Little boy who was rescued from the jaws, the cold jaws of the British snow. And he came here and he became the Almighty. Arrogant. We were told that he stole 49.1 million Ghana cedis. Investigators have gone into it. They have been able to do a great job. They are showing this to the courts. The courts are seeing this, but the propagandists are also doing their bidding. I don't have a problem if that is what you believe in. But when you know that this guy is on the wrong side, yet you are supporting them because they are your thief, that is where the problem is. And that is why it will be difficult for our nation to be politically wise. He went to court, and Paul came up again with another batch of propaganda. I thought we had tackled this propaganda, and people had come to know that, Charlie, the thing no they work. It no go fly. Stealing is stealing. Finished. Listen to what Paul said. And when we return, we will look at that and close this. Watch this.
So she testified that there was no public institution known as the Bureau of National Communications as alleged by the Attorney General. Number two, she stated that the BNC was an internal department of the Office of National Security, National Security Coordinator, and not an autonomous agency like the Bureau of National Investigations, BNI, and the Research Department. So she said that the BNC, it works in the Office of the National Security Coordinator. There's no private one. It's one and it's with the National Security Coordinator. It's just a subset of it. It's not an institution by itself. The Attorney General said all of that. Okay, let's move on. Then she further testified that what the Attorney General held out to be the state's BNC account with the Fidelity Bank was rather a special operations account of the National Security Coordinator called the Coordinator's Account, National Security Coordinator. That's the National Security Coordinator, also christened Director BNC. So, viewers, are you with me? It's getting interesting. The prosecution witness told the courts that, as it turns out, the Attorney General completely misunderstood what he noticed. Both the Attorney General and the investigative unit, I don't know whether it was the BNI or the NIB as it was, or it was the YOCO, whoever investigated, they had all gotten it wrong. But how did they get an investigation wrong when the person who is giving the right information is a prosecution witness? Didn't they speak to her so that she will educate them and say, oh, bosses, this is not how it is. So this one is like that. Didn't they go through that process so that they come and embarrass themselves in court? This was totally embarrassing. That your own prosecution witness under cross-examination is revealing things that contrary to what you told the general public. And that's what is happening in the court. Let's move on. She also said that contrary to the Attorney General's allegations that Adom-Otchere had the power to spend and authorize spending on the Fidelity Special Operations Account, Edith testified that it was the National Security Coordinator who wielded the power to spend and authorize spending on that account. Again, Dominic Ayeni said that Kwabena Adom-Otchere moved account. They saw the director BNC and they thought he created the fictitious account and is siphoning government money into that account. That's what they believed, or that's what they were told. And then they said it. Now, the lady is telling the court that Adom-Otchere does not have control over that account. But mind you, she's the head of finance. She's speaking. Said Adom-Otchere doesn't have control over that account. That account is for the National Security Coordinator. All right, let's move on very quickly. The bedrock of the Attorney General's case is that Adom-Otchere moved monies from the Fidelity Bank accounts to the UMB Bank. But Edith Ruby Adumwa clarified that Adom-Otchere did not wield the power to move any monies at all. And thus the check totaling 49.1 million were signed and authorized by the National Security Coordinator for payment into BNC operations account at the UMB. Again, Edith is giving more clarification. Let's move on for lack of time. Edith Adumwa's testimony further contradicted the prosecution's case in terms of the purpose of the 49.1 million, citing that there was no point in the year 2020 when the said amount was the Ghana cedi equivalent of 7 million. You remember there was something like that where the Attorney General said that the 49 is the Ghana cedi equivalent of 7 million. Edith debunked that in the court. Edith Adumwa contradicted the prosecution further by asserting that the acquisition of the cyber defense system was a genuine transaction in which she herself, as head of finance, was involved. Edith Adumwa contradicted the prosecution further by asserting that the acquisition of the cyber defense system was a genuine transaction in which she herself, as head of finance, was involved. She confirmed that she personally processed invoices and payments for the cyber defense system. She maintained that the payment was made contingent on the delivery and acceptance of the cyber defense system. She testified that the cyber defense system was indeed purchased and delivered. That collapses the Attorney General's case. Because the Attorney General says money was given for the purchase of a cyber security. The cyber security didn't come. So recently before the court, distinguished counsel for Adom-Otchere, the learned Adom-Otchere, has asked the court that, can you order for us to walk into the National Security Signals Bureau and check whether the equipment is there or that is not there? I'm really hoping that the judge will agree with that because it will help all of us. The Attorney General says it wasn't there. The Attorney General's witness says that the item was delivered. I signed for it. I paid for it because I'm head of finance. Counsel for Defense says, my lord, if it wouldn't worry anybody, can we all go to the National Signals Bureau, your agent, the judge's agent, the Attorney General, who already has control over the Signals Bureau, and we, the Defense Council, you can add neutral people, the leadership of the Ghana Bar Association, and the leadership of the new one, Dafia Mako's own, what is it called? Association of Ghana Bar or something like that. Solicitor Ghana something, their thing, he and Javier Susu. You can bring all of them. Let's go to the National Signals Bureau and let us find out whether the equipment is there or not. It's an application before His Lordship. I sincerely believe that His Lordship will grant it. I hope so. Anyway, let's move on. Contrary to the Attorney General's allegations that some 49.1 million had been stolen or lost at the National Signals Bureau, Edith Ruby Adom-Otchere testified that there was no report or audit query whatsoever that any such amount had been stolen or gone missing at the National Signals Bureau. She denied ever transferring monies to buy houses for Edom-Otchere. She denied Edom-Otchere ever using operational funds for personal use. That's very interesting. And on that day, I was in court, and that was the most powerful one. Adom-Otchere is such a fantastic lawyer. I mean, all of us had not thought about it. You see, so the lawyers were talking about it in the court as I sat with them. It's very interesting. The first point that Dominica Ini should have made to the court is to establish that as National Signals Bureau, they are looking for a 49.1 million which is lost. That's the first thing you should have established, because that's really the case. You are prosecuting on behalf of the National Signals Bureau. There has to be a complaint from the National Signals Bureau or an audit from the National Signals Bureau by the Auditor General, like what goes into Abna's committee, Adom-Otchere, that's very intelligent MP, Public Accounts Committee. So that the Attorney General can begin on the premise that the Auditor General has reported a 49.1 million inconsistency or loss with the National Signals Bureau, alleging that a cybersecurity equipment that can be the basis of the Attorney General's case. The Attorney General didn't do that at all. He was more interested in press conferences and addressing the media and telling the media that people are thieves and prosecuting a public opinion trial for political gain. That's what he was interested in. Now all that gain has collapsed because time is the master of all of us. So all that political gain that Attorney General thought he gained, it has collapsed on his head today. The other day, somebody was whispering to me that they said that Dominica Ini had some issue and he wanted to resign and they begged him not to resign. I said, oh, well, he's brought it upon himself. Because this is what is happening. Everything he said in the press conference has now collapsed on his head. Every pep, the military people call it peps, I think they were. Every pep that he won because of the press conference has been torn off his shoulders today. Because he held a press conference and said that there was no equipment and that the money had been stolen. And yet, when he appeared before the court, he did not ground his case on the fact that the National Signals Bureau itself is in possession of that information that their money has been stolen. So in court, Adom-Otchere asked the lady that, are you the head of... She said, yes. He said, if there will be money lost, would you know? She said, yes, I will know. She said, so far, has the National Signals Bureau lost any money? She said, no, we haven't lost any money. Then Adom-Otchere turned to the judge and turned to the court.
Well, one thing is clear. Propaganda is the office, the right office of Paul Adom-Otchere and not the law court. Nature has a beautiful way of selecting who fits where and who is a misfit. I think Paul would have been a misfit, super misfit in the law court. Listen to the logic. And this will be swallowed by a lot of ignoramuses because of the level of illiteracy in our country. Unfortunately, some people would believe this thing that Paul is saying. Paul is saying that there's an equipment and is sitting in the office of the NSB. Iyoko investigated this guy and asked him, where is the thing? He couldn't show it. Where did you say you bought it from? Oh, some Israeli company. They wrote to the Israeli company and asked the Israeli company to come out with whatever it had supplied. And Israeli company said, oh, he only gave us 10 million Ghana cedis. Kind of. In dollars. And we gave him a trial version. When they took the trial version, we were waiting for the rest of the money to be sent, and the idiot never sent it. So we tracked it and closed it. Is that the equipment? Is that it? And he's here saying that the court should allow them to go to the National Signals Bureau. My brother, my sister, there is nothing in there that can be seen by anybody. No court would waste its time to go there. I pray that the court does, to buy time for Otchere and his propagandous court case. My brother, my sister, let me draw your attention to something equally important. Paul is saying that the finance person said she didn't know that any money was stolen, and that she signed whatever invoices and whatever invoices. An invoice is not a receipt. Is an invoice a receipt? If I am going to buy an elephant and I'm asked to bring or to get an invoice, is that the same as a receipt? Put that aside. Now, this woman here is the boss of the finance. She doesn't know that money is lost. She's not an auditor. When a smart thief like Adom-Otchere, as alleged, is dealing with this issue, he's doing it on the blind side of everybody. No thief ever goes to the finance person to say, hey, I'm going to steal 49.1 million. I want you to know before I steal it. How many of us have things stolen from us and we never know until later dates? Be honest. How many people amongst us have something stolen from us? Sometimes we never even know till we die. But if it is that heavy and important, we might get to find out after some time. Paul Adom-Otchere says, because the woman said she didn't know at the time that any money was stolen, it meant that no money was stolen. Which lawyer thinks like this? Maybe only lawyer Obonu. Even me, who doesn't know law, and I won't pretend that I know. This simple logic will never beat me. You go to a man's house and ask him, have you lost anything? If anything is lost in your house, would you know? And he says, oh yes, I will know. So is anything lost? No, nothing is lost. Then you go out and say nothing is lost. That logic is warped. This is what Paul is trying to confuse people with. Propaganda. My brother, they say he who pays the piper enjoys the tune, right? When we get to the bridge, we will cross it. You see, I foresee something. When Adom-Otchere finally is in jail, these are the people who go, oh, we did all we could, you know. But we pushed our Omaya there. It was a bad case, very terrible. But we did our best. Maya dear. That's what they will finally go and tell the guy. After they have milked him dry, after the idiot has spent all his money on propaganda, after this guy ran to a great man like Archbishop Duncan Williams, trying to get mercy from him, and Iyoko did not budge. The presidency did not budge. It is not Paul Adom-Otchere's propaganda, little dusty propaganda, that will sway the courts. Nothing would save Adom-Otchere from jail. Not even the bald head of Otchere. My brother, my sister, but open your eyes, as Christ would say. Open your eyes. Pray without ceasing. Because the end times are here. They will all go to jail. Wontumi will go. Adom-Otchere will go. This is not the end of Adom-Otchere. After this case, there's another case. Look, I am privy to a lot of information, and the more this Adom-Otchere case delays, the angrier I get. After this, when he's in jail, he will be brought out again to stand another trial for more years to be added to his jail term. After he goes in the second time, he'll be called back. There's another third case against this same guy. If only Ghanaians knew what this little brat has allegedly done, it's only people who take money from him who will still do propaganda for him. Any which way. It is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunemo. And here we speak truth to power.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.